Hey, how's it going everyone? I've been seeing a very common question in a lot of my Timeless videos lately about people wanting to get into Timeless, but they're unsure of what deck to build towards or craft. Timeless decks use a lot of rare and mythic wildcards, so I understand people wanting to make sure they build the right thing. I'm going to break this video up into 4 parts: a Timeless Staples, top best of 1 decks, top best of 3 decks, and general Timeless tips. So let's go over some Timeless Staples. These are cards that we could use in more than one deck. One of the biggest Timeless staples, and in almost every blue deck, is Brainstorm. It goes in Show and Tell, Dimmer Frog, Control, and pretty much any other combo deck with blue. Paired with a fetch land, Brainstorm is a very powerful card selection tool. We talk more about Brainstorm in the general tip section. Similar to Brainstorm, Mana Drain can also go in almost every blue deck. This is the premier counterspell of the format. You can find Thoughtseize in pretty much any deck that plays black, and it's a pretty common sideboard card as well. We see Orcish Bowmasters both in Frog and Mardu Energy. You can expect to see this in almost every non-combo deck that has black. Dark Ritual is probably the most busted card in Timeless. It's in Show and Tell, Reanimate, Belcher, Necro, and pretty much all black combo decks. Demonic Tutor's restricted in Timeless, so you can only have one in the deck, but similar to Dark Ritual, it pretty much goes in every combo deck. At this point, you can probably see a pattern of blue and black sharing the most cards, so generally when people ask me what deck should they go for, I recommend a blue deck. However, if you really like aggro, Energy is a good choice, and building it in Timeless will allow you to play it in Historic as well, but I think going blue will give you more flexibility long term to make more Timeless decks. And I'm not going to go over all the lands here, but you can see from this graphic from Untapped that Polluted Delta is the #1 played card in Timeless. You can also see Bloodstained Mire, Flooded Strand, Watery Grave, Blood Crypt, and Undercity Sewers as the most common lands played in the format. Let's take a look at the top best of 1 decks from Platinum to Mythic from September 24th to now. I will post deck lists in the description and videos for reference. The #1 deck is my favorite Timeless deck, Show and Tell. This is a combo deck that uses Show and Tell to put Omniscience on the battlefield, then retrieves Approach of the Second Sun from the sideboard and plays it twice on the same turn. With Dark Ritual, this deck can potentially win on turn 2, but it's pretty uncommon. This deck is not an easy deck to play tightly, so it will take some reps to play well with it. Mardu, or Red-White Energy, is arguably the best deck in Timeless. It gets on the board quickly with Guide of Souls, Oscillate Pride, and can finish the games very fast with Ajani and Goblin Bombardment. If you like aggro, this is your deck. 5-color Reanimator and Mardu Vampires is generally the same deck, except for 5-color usually plays Atraxa as another reanimation target. This deck is an all-out glass cannon that has several ways to cheat in cards. You can play Strike It Rich into Dark Ritual into Buried Alive, and put 3 Phoenix in your graveyard to return them to the battlefield attacking on your first turn. It also has the option to Dark Ritual into Sorin to put in a turn 1 Vampire. You can also use Faithless Looting to discard cards to give yourself some reanimation targets. I only recommend this deck in best of 1 since there's so much graveyard hate in best of 3. Lastly, we have Dimmer Frog. This is a mid-range deck that controls the board with removal and discard, and beats you down with cards like Psychic Frog, Orcish Bowmasters, and Nethergoyf. It also plays counterspells for protection against the combo decks. Best of 3 is nearly identical to Best of 1, but it doesn't have the reanimation decks, and it has Belcher as number 5. We won't go over all the same decks again, but let's take a look at Belcher and then we can talk about Fringe Decks. Belcher is one of the few decks that can rarely win on turn 1. This deck doesn't play normal lands, they are all double-sided cards. That way when you activate Belcher, you go through your entire deck to one-shot the opponent. This deck can easily find the combo by using Dark Ritual to ramp into Necrodominance or Necropotence, drawing 15 or so cards on turn 1. You can also get easy mana by evoking Grief and casting Sacrifice on it. This particular build also has the Sorin Vampire combo. I recommend building a tier 1 deck before you go for something else, but if none of these decks appeal to you, there is a ton of other decks you could play. I'll link my EtherHub profile for all the other crazy Timeless decks we play on this channel, and they all have a linked YouTube video of us playing the deck. Knowing how to brainstorm is really important in Timeless. Usually you want to cast it on your turn and be able to crack a fetch land to shuffle back cards you don't need. You can also use it to hide cards from the opponent if they Thoughtseize you, but be careful playing it if the opponent has 2 open mana, since they could flash in Orcish Bowmasters. Don't be afraid to mulligan aggressively, especially with a combo deck. It's better to keep 5 cards that has a chance to combo than 7 that relies on a lucky draw. Be prepared to lose on turn 2 or 3. This is a crazy format, and losing the dice roll can sometimes cost you the game. Pay attention to what companion the opponent's playing. Lurrus usually means they are playing Energy or Frog. Gigantha is usually red-white Energy. Do some research on the deck you want to craft and make sure it fits your playstyle. I'm always up to talk in Discord if you want to discuss something. I hope this video was helpful and you consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, Siege Rhino here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Blah.